Coming up on the Rowan National Rundown, the latest on the Boston bombing trial, airport security, and Drexel University's porn leak.
So this is my computer?
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. If I say dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again now.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
Good evening and welcome to the National Rundown. I'm AJ Lear.
And I'm Samantha Rizzo.
The jury came to a decision at the trial of 21-year-old Tsar Haya. He is better known as the Boston Marathon bomber. The jury consisted of 7 women and 5 men. It took them 11 and a half hours on a discussion to come to a conclusion. Tsar Haya is guilty of all 30 counts he was charged with. He could receive the death penalty for 17 of those charges.
Stay with us. Andrea Borba has the news on airport security.
April 20th, 2014, 15-year-old Yahya Abdi tumbled out of the wheel well of a plane in Maui, a trip that started when he scaled a fence at Mineta, San Jose. Suddenly, Yahya became the poster child for airport perimeter breaches. The Associated Press crunched the numbers from the last decade and found perimeter breaches at the nation's airports are hardly uncommon. SFO, the worst. The breaches at SFO range from the mundane, driver inadvertently took a rental car through a gate to a secure area, to the vague, unspecified perimeter security breach. That phrase appears 8 times in the SFO data. At Mineta, yes, there was Yahya, but the bigger problem, cars crashing through fences. Of the 18 breaches in a decade, 9 were car crashes, all at the intersection of Central Expressway and De La Cruz.
Here at San Jose, we meet all federal guidelines for security through our overall security program.
But the federal guidelines clearly aren't working, so Mineta, the 5th worst airport in the country for perimeter breaches, is making changes.
Federal regulations only require airport perimeter fences to stand 6 feet tall with a foot of barbed wire on top. Here at the southwest corner of Mineta at Airport and Coleman Road, the fence line is getting raised an additional 4 feet with an extra foot of barbed wire on top.
East Bay Congressman Eric Swalwell says that's not nearly enough. He sits on the Homeland Security Committee and has sounded the airport security alarm for years.
Until we have a system where security officials are alerted at the moment of the breach, we're very vulnerable to people wandering around the airport grounds before they're confronted.
He wants all airports to incorporate new perimeter technology.
Infrared, enhanced video surveillance, motion detection.
The technology also isn't cheap and could range from $100,000 to install at a tiny municipal airport to several million for an international facility like SFO.
Right now, we may be penny wise and pound foolish by not investing in this.
A Drexel University law professor is now under investigation after emailing her students a link to a pornographic video. The subject line of the email stated, "Great article on writing briefs," but when students clicked on the link, they were directed to sexually explicit material. The professor did not immediately comment on this matter.
Imprisoned former Black Panther and political activist Mumia Abu-Jamal was recently rushed to the hospital in a diabetic shock. Although he was very weak and short of breath, he was transferred back to the prison prematurely on Wednesday. Abu-Jamal's supporters are stressing the fact that he needs independent, specialized medical attention as soon as possible.
Michael Slager, the officer charged with murdering Walter Scott, has been fired from his job. Officer Slager was captured on camera shooting 50-year-old Scott from behind while he was running away. He was struck 5 times. The incident raised another national debate about police brutality, and the FBI started their investigations. A Texas judge, Andrew Hanen of Brownsville, has refused to acknowledge President Obama's executive action to shield millions of people from deportation. A total of 26 states, led by Texas, is fighting against the action, which is approved in November 2014. The ruling leaves the status unchanged for up to 5 million immigrants in the U.S.
More than 98% of California is currently suffering from a drought that has been stretched into its 4th year. Recently, Governor Jerry Brown issued an executive order that required the state to reduce water usage by 25%. Quote, "As California, we must pull together and save water in every possible way," end quote, said Brown.
A mother accused of murdering her 2 children and storing their dead bodies in a freezer lashed out in court on Wednesday. Michelle Blair shouted in court when her parental rights were addressed about her 2 surviving children. Blair was removed by police, but her shouting was still heard in the courtroom as she was taken down the hallway.
Up next, Theola with the latest entertainment news.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Look, don't be pressed to follow the crowd. Being your own person is the freshest choice you can make. So make the right decisions right now.
The power of one is much greater than the power of a dozen.
Be your own person.
Make the right decisions right now.
A carjacker got more than he bargained for after he was jacking went wrong. While the 15-year-old tried to take a woman's car, she jumped on her hood and tried to stop him. A bystander warned him before shooting the boy in the shoulder. The teen will be fined but is facing charges. The shooter will not be charged.
Now we have Theola on what is going on with the Kardashians and more.
Los Angeles artist known as Plastic Jesus, who became famous for making signs saying, "Stop making stupid people famous," has now found new inspiration for his latest artwork. And this time it's the Kardashians. The artist posted signs around LA saying, "No Kardashian parking anytime," and even put up one in front of the Kardashian Dash store. Plastic Jesus says he has no personal issues with the Kardashians, but thinks celebrities should be recognized for who they are and not what they do. Back to you at the desk.
Danielle and Matt Davis were married for 7 months when Matt got into a motorcycle accident that put him in a coma. Doctors suggested his wife take him off life support, but she said it wasn't time yet. Matt woke up and is regaining his memory and strength. Although he does not remember meeting his wife, he says he is lucky he married her. After months of chaos, Ferguson has a new local government. Among the new officials, there are 2 new African Americans, making the previously mostly white 6-person council 50% African American. Among those 2 is Ella Jones, Ferguson's first African American woman to sit on the council.
A fast-spreading dog flu outbreak leaves pet daycares and dog parks empty in Chicago. According to officials, the illness has affected 1,000 dogs in the area and resulted in 5 deaths. And now here's Tatiana with the latest on the hummus recall.
How are you doing today?
Hi.
Good, how are you?
So tell us about this recall.
All right, Sabre Dipping Company is recalling 300,000 cases of its hummus after Michigan food inspectors identified a container contaminated with a bacteria called Listeria at a Port Huron store. So that's what's going on.
Okay, and what exactly is Listeria?
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it is a bacteria that can cause symptoms including fever, muscle aches, convulsions, confusion, and loss of balance. Pregnant women who are infected can experience a miscarriage, stillbirth, premature delivery, or any life-threatening infection of a newborn.
And how was this disease discovered?
So every package of hummus is required to go through an inspection. And in this case, a prepackaged Sabre hummus tested positive for the Listeria.
Okay, and has anyone reported anything on this?
At this time, according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, no illnesses have been reported in association with the product. However, Sabre is voluntarily recalling several varieties and packages of hummus.
All right. All right, well, I'll make sure to stay away from that hummus
Yeah, me
then.
too.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you for having me.
147 people were massacred at a university in Kenya last week. The government is currently tracking accounts of militant members who are involved with the terror group Al-Shabaab. The government has been tracking supporters of this group since 2011. It is suspected that the members of al-Shabaab are to blame for this attack.
The Atlanta Hawks signed 8-year-old who suffers from acute myeloid leukemia to a 1-year deal. Lake Bosman is one of the 14 children selected by the Burt Show to visit Disney World, but unfortunately he fell ill before the trip. In exchange for the trip, the show coordinated with the Hawks to help fulfill Bosman's dream of being on the NBA roster.
And now Robert Savalga will have the latest World News Minute.
Thanks, guys. On Wednesday, ISIS released more than 200 Yazidi, a minority group whose members were killed, captured, and displaced when the Islamic terror organization overtook their town in northern Iraq last summer, officials said. Most of those released were women and children. The rest were ill or elderly, said Razul Ammar, a commissioner in the Peshmerga force that defends northern Iraq Kurdish region. Ammar didn't say what led to the release other than that, asserting that Arab tribal leaders helped to coordinate an arrest in Yemen, as well as hostile military airstrikes that turned the active capital into a ghost town. On Sunday, April 5th, protesting airstrikes carried out by Saudi-led coalition against Houthi rebels caused the supporters to rally in Sana'a, Yemen. The coalition warplane had been carrying out airstrikes since the rebel president Abdul Rahbu Maswar Hadi fled the country in late March. An ambush that killed 15 police officers in western Mexico appeared to be a drug cartel's revenge against could herald a military-style offensive, government authorities say. The assault on Jalisco State Police takes Monday on rural roads between the Pacific coast of Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara, the state capital, followed arrests earlier in the day and over the weekend of suspected members of the Jalisco New Generations cartel. It also came a week after a failed attempt to kill State Security Commissioner Alejandro Solorio failed. That's today's World News Minute. Back to you guys at the desk.
A new Kansas law banning a common second-term abortion procedure is the first of its kind in the United States. The law does not spell out a specific time frame that limits when an abortion can occur, but it bans the dilation and evacuation abortion procedure commonly used during the second trimester of pregnancy. The law allows for the procedure if necessary to protect the life or health of the mother. While it may feel like take a long time ago, it was just a week and a half ago that Governor Mike Pence signed the Indiana Religious Freedom Restoration Act into law. The goal is to give business owners a stronger legal defense if they refuse to serve lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender customers at want to cite their faith as justification for their actions. Groups advocating for LGBT rights, along with a slew of corporations and celebrities, have protested the law's enactment, creating such an uproar that Pence said on Tuesday he was open to clarifying the legislation. The Michigan Supreme Court, rejecting arguments from unions, has upheld a 2012 state law requiring teachers and other school employees to put more of their pay towards their pension plans or face cuts to benefits such as post-retirement health care. Under the law, school employees hired before 1990 who were paying more than nothing towards their retirement must contribute 4% of their pay or have their benefits cut. Those hired from 1990 to June 2010 must pay 7% to keep their pensions intact. Previously, they paid 3% to a 6.4%.
And now we have Dylan DeSimone with sports.
Thanks, guys. Baseball's back and in full swing across the country. Opening day featured many great moments. The Red Sox beat down the Phillies 8-0, while former Phillies Kyle Kendrick and Jimmy Rollins enjoyed great performances in their debuts for their new teams. Kendrick pitched 7 shutout innings against Milwaukee, while J-Roll hit a go-ahead home run in the 8th inning to give the Dodgers the win over San Diego. Congratulations to the NCAA champs. Duke won the title over Wisconsin in a thrilling game for the men's trophy, and it was UConn with the win over Notre Dame for the women's trophy. In the ice hockey world, the season's coming to a close and the Stanley Cup playoffs are set to begin on Saturday. It's looking a lot like it'll be the New York Rangers as the top seed. Now, for a new segment, let's head over to the Sports Roundtable with Paul and Ryan.
Thanks, Dylan. This is the Sports Roundtable, and I am joined today by Ryan Woodhatch and Dylan DeSimone. And today we're going to debate 3 hot sports topics today. We're going to start off with opening day. This week was Major League Baseball opening day. Gentlemen, what stood out to you most? Dylan, we'll start with you.
First and foremost, Adrian Gonzalez. 5 home runs, 3 in one game. 5 home runs in the first 3 games of the season. He is on fire. Dodgers are going to be really good in the NL West this year.
Yeah, I know they got J-Roll. They had a lineup. They got a lineup that's worth reckoning with. I got to focus on the Nationals and the Marlins. Those two teams that are very hyped up. The Nationals have been in that position for a while now, a couple years, and have disappointed every year. With the Marlins, they're expected to make a wild card spot this year. They're one of the worst teams in the MLB. What do you think about them?
Well, certainly, I got to say, a rough start for Miami.
Yeah.
Being swept by Atlanta, who, especially after that Craig Kimbrel trade, picked to be bottom with the Phillies in the National League East. But it's a long season. I think the Marlins are going to find themselves right in the mix.
I want to introduce a topic. The NHL season is coming to an end on Saturday. The playoffs start on Saturday. Who do you guys think is going to take the Hart Trophy this year?
Well, I think it's got to be Alex Ovechkin. You look at Alex Ovechkin, it would be his 3rd Hart Trophy. The guy has 6 seasons, 50-plus goals. He doesn't miss games. I mean, Sidney Crosby, obviously, if you just go by pure talent overall, Sidney Crosby is the most talented player in the NHL, but he does miss a lot of time due to injury. You look at Ovechkin, in his career, of the 786 games his team's played, he's played in 759 of them. Plus, I don't think there is a more fun player to watch in the entire NHL.
Ovechkin gets a lot of love, I know, but I'm going with Carey Price of the Montreal Canadiens. Leads every single major goaltending category. .935 save percentage, 193 goals against. He has 42 wins. He's tied for the most shutouts with 9. Goaltending, it's the heart and the backbone.
They have
of the
a trophy.
NHL.
It's called a Vezina. Better get that.
Oh, you're killing me. Moving on, we got the 7 Kentucky basketball players who are going to be drafted in the NBA. Which ones do you think are going to be the best guys?
I think it's a given that it's going to be Karl Anthony Towns.
I have to agree with that one.
Outside of Towns, I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of these players are going to be starters in the NBA. I think these are all role players. Wow. I think that they're all averaging under 10 a game in college, at least around that. And I don't think the Harrison twins are said like what they're meant to be. So
I'm going to disagree with you. I like Willie Cauley-Stein. I don't love him. The comparison for me is Tyson Chandler, who has turned into a pretty decent NBA pro, not worthy of a lottery pick, I would say, next Tyson Chandler. But I think he'll be a very productive player. But my guy is Devin Booker, 6'6", 206, perfect height, length for a shooting guard. Shot 41% this year from 3. Scored 10 points a game in 20 minutes, basically as a role player for this star-studded team. I think he's definitely suited for an NBA game. It is a shooting league after all.
I'll tell you what, that Kentucky team's exciting no matter what.
It's gonna be
so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it for the Sports Roundtable today. I was joined by Ryan Woodhatch and Dylan DeSimone. I'm Paul Hudrick. Back to you at the news desk.
Coming up, we have Samantha Berenberg with the weather. Stay tuned. In addition to putting their lives on the line for safety, the President Obama and his family, the Secret Service, also had the responsibility of teaching Malia Obama to drive. The First Lady revealed this to the TV host Rachel Ray this week.
Rob Lowe's famous television ads may be discontinued. DirecTV claims in the ads that its service gets 99% signal reliability, better picture and sound, and more sports programming. But the Better Business Bureau says the TV company cannot prove the claims it made in the commercials. DirecTV is appealing the claim that the ads are deceptive.
And now Samantha Berenberg with the weather.
Thanks. So today, if you haven't noticed already, it is quite cold out there, especially after the week of 60-degree temperatures. So right now, it's 42 degrees and it's cloudy, so you don't even get to see the sun today. But that's okay. Let's go into our 5-day forecast to see if it warms up. On Friday, it doesn't seem like it's going to clear up. It's scattered thunderstorms, so make sure you grab those umbrellas. But at least it's going to be pretty warm with a high of 75 and a low of 47. On Saturday, it's mostly sunny, which is a lot better, with a high of 62 and a low of 40. On Sunday, the day of Back to the Borough, it's sunny with a high of 66 and a low of 43. So it's a perfect day to go out and have some fun. On Monday, we're back to partly cloudy, but it's okay because we're still in the 70s with a high of 74 and a low of 53. On Tuesday, it's partly cloudy again, but once more, we're in the 70s with a high of 71 and a low of 51. Now let's go take a look at our weather window. So as you can see, don't be deceived by how nice it looks. It's actually pretty cold out there. you can see the cloudy skies, which I guess is a prequel to the thunderstorm we might get tomorrow. But it is nice. You see the green grass. It's really colored up, and it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, hopefully this rain stops and we can go back to just spring weather all the time.
Not looking forward to that thunderstorm tomorrow, the scattered
No.
thunderstorm.
I'm sick of the gray clouds.
Right?
I don't know if I can take
I
another
like
storm.
blue. I like blue and the sky.
Hopefully it'll heat up soon.
Then we'll actually get some spring weather.
Yeah, I hope so too.
All right, thank you very much, Sam. That's all the time we have for tonight. I'm AJ Lear.
And I'm Samantha Rizzo. Have a great night, everyone.